Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take the top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and break them down to bite-sized pieces. So today I'm going to do a little bit something different. We're going to use a new type of software and see how this all works out. So so everybody knows, first of all, let's make sure the audio is good. That's, I think, is the most important. Sounds pretty good. Looks pretty good. I think we're there. Welcome, everybody. Got a lot of people for this one, which is amazing to me. Now, remember, these are all predictions, and this is all financial opinion, not financial advice. So some of these things that we talk about, you're not going to agree with, and that's okay. And some of the things that we're going to chat about, let's see, my man Lucas Bradley says, the audio is great. Thanks, Lucas. Edras says, sounds good, right? Like that. And then, oh, I like this one. Nick Colley time, did it start? It started. And then let's see, where is this? Chris says, darn, whatever it is, I'm glad I'm buying it at 2:30 as he's talking about Voyager. So just so everybody knows, today it is June 30th. So we know exactly where this is moving forward. Now we did a price prediction video, January 7th, and it's had a lot of traction. I think we had about, it was over 100,000 views. I know that. So, quite a bit of things going on. And the big thing that people were saying to me was like, hey, man, here's the thing. Based on your recommendations, I bought X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, why did you buy X, Y, and Z? Did you do your own research? Did you make sure that all the things that you were doing were correct? Did you make sure that these prices were within your budget and you could do a little bit more buying? And of course, it was all no. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands how important it is to do your own research, do the right things, and don't get overbought. I mean, it's all about what you can afford and go from there. I'm not telling you to pull a Diddy and sell everything and then just live off crypto. It doesn't work like that. It takes a long time. And we'll see how it goes. Linda says, I like this. Linda Ball says, new dye job? No, I'm still gray right here. I'm still black up top. I'm getting older though. So what are you going to do? All right. So let's just break into it. So first of all, I want to share this with you real quick. And this is a couple of news stories about where we're going, or at least I think where we're going as far as time moves on. So this was an article that came up, and it talks about how 6 billion NCR opens Bitcoin purchases to 650 banks. Let me say that again. 650 banks. There's a lot of banks to get into it. What's going on? So 650 US banks will be able to offer Bitcoin purchases to an estimated 24 million total customers. And this was, I'll just paraphrase, this was the NYDIG deal. NCR is a company that works with small and medium-sized banks across the United States. I don't know if it's global, it might be global. And they are there for payment services, technology, vendors, and everything in between. So what they're going to do is they just said, hey, we're going to help you guys do these things, but we're going to have to help you purchase Bitcoin to offer to your customers. And the financial institutions that opt to make the services available will rely on NYDIG's custody services. So they're not going to custody themselves. They're going to let NYDIG. NYDIG is going to be rich. Good for them. And this is really just sums it up. The latest by Atlanta-based NCR to capitalize on demand it's seeing from banks and credit unions tired of seeing crypto purchases made from their accounts to outside exchanges. And that's the big thing. Outside exchanges. So, look, when we're talking about all these things that are happening right now, I know it's hard to see because we look at the price every day and we look at the portfolio, and everybody's like, man, this is not going up like it should. But you have to take a look behind the scenes about what is going on. Who ever would have thought that we would have had banks getting into this so heavily and they would be like, hey, we want to buy cryptocurrency to offer to our customers, because guess what? We keep seeing these outflows to Voyager, to Coinbase, to Kraken, to Gemini. And that's just money out of our pocket where we could be offering those services to them, because, man, we are losing a lot of foot traffic, and that's why we're closing down our brick and mortar stores. So that is just one piece of the puzzle. So just remember, that is how it is. And then, oh, I love this one. Let me answer your question, Captain Kurt. So how much do you get paid to preach these companies? So I don't get paid a dime. No, I take that back. I have been paid before from CryptoTrader.tax. I have been paid before from iTrust and also Unstoppable Domains. Now, everything else, I'm glad you brought this up, actually. Now, everybody else are just affiliate commissions. So speaking of which, let me pull this up so people can know. Stop screen. And let me share my screen. Oops, I should be using this thing. Aha, here we are. So Kurt, to answer your question, you guys can go here, the exchange and wallet fees, and all the different exchanges and wallets I've ever used, and you can see from Voyager to Celsius to Kraken and everything else. It has I just give my recommendation, no, not recommendation. I just break it down about what they offer, the interest rates, the fees, and everything else. And it's a plethora of ones that I've amassed over, gosh, since 2017. And some I recommend, some I don't. And some there's affiliate links and some there's not. Now, you don't have to use the affiliate links, but if you do, you get $25, between $10 and $25 in Bitcoin when you sign up. So I hope that answers everybody's question. Great. All right. So that's the problem. Bobby Shouts is here. Yes, I agree. So there's a couple more things before we get into the actual price predictions, and it's going to make a little bit of sense. I want to make sure that everybody is understanding about where we are right now in this time frame. So if we take a look here, and we talk about the biggest thing that's really moves the price these days. First of all is whales, a little manipulation here and there, but also news. And I want to make sure everybody understands that, when we have these news things like stupid stuff like this, where China bans Bitcoin, okay? China's been banning Bitcoin since I got into crypto in 2017. And every single year, they trot out this stupid same article about how they're banning Bitcoin. Well, finally, they did their job and they really kicked out all the miners. And that's a bummer for the Bitcoin miners. It's a real bummer for the Chinese people, but it had to happen. And now we can move on. So next year in 2022, when they ban it again in 2023, just remember this nice little meme so you understand. And then on top of that, it's also good to note that when we're looking at all the different aspects of, where are we? Internet fad. When we look about all the different aspects of cryptocurrency, you have to take a look back in time to see where we're at. And this was an article that's been shared around enough, but just so you know, I'm old enough to remember these things where the internet was just a passing fad back in the 90s and no one would use it. Makes no sense. Why would we send an email, or when we can just write a letter? Why would we do anything online as far as like registration and document collection when we can just go down to the DMV and do all the things? Well, shoot, we still have to do that stuff. But yeah, why would we buy anything online when we can just go down to JCPenney's? We can go down to Woolworths, which are going out of business. That doesn't make any sense, but it's the truth, and that's just the way that things develop, and now here we are. So there is this. And then let me stop my screen and welcome in to the show real quick. Now I'm using a different streaming software, so let's see if there's an echo, and we'll go from there. Paul, what's up?
Hey man, how's it going?
Great. I'm pretty good. That's a nice office.
Yeah, now you're seeing the backside of Rever Networks.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So I was just getting into it with everybody, and we're already live, just so you know. So no cussing like you always do, Paul. So, but no, seriously. So I was going with this. I don't know if there's going to be echo because I'm not using my headphones, but I brought them along just in case. This is a brand new software, so I'm just making sure. So everybody who's in the chats, is there an echo? That would be important to know. Let's see. And then let's put some. So when is Sheeb making me rich? I put all my money into it. I hope, Dubzilla, that is a joke. Hopefully not. Bobby shouts, who the hell cares who pays Rob? I would take this advice for free. Yeah. Satoshi Nakamoto, celebrity in the house, says, I just staked on Meld. Well, great. I don't know if we did this video yesterday. Paul, you're probably busy cranking out your 10th video. You probably didn't see it. but it was, we did this. It was about Meld, Meld.com and the Meld token, which is built on Cardano. Basically, they're paying off your loans for you by staking it in fees in the Cardano network. And it's an ambitious project, and we'll see how it works out.
That's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so look, no one's complaining about the echo, so I think we're good. And then let me make sure. Yeah. Okay, cool.
I like the new template though. It looks good.
Yeah, right. Check out. I want to show you something. Check this out. Let me. This is what I should have done actually. There's the new template.
There you go.
See.
Don't forget, DanTeachesCrypto.com.
That's right. 100% free. I can't beat that. I am the king of the shill, Paul. I can't stop it. That's what it is.
I got to go there now. I'm beginning to think I need to take a course.
So everybody, if you don't know, this is Paul Barron. I'm going to pull up his YouTube channel as I should have done before. And Paul he's a new up and comer, I will say. Paul, when did you start your channel?
We were an overnight success. We started in 2001.
No. But when you started talking about cryptocurrency, how about that?
We started talking about tech and crypto in March.
Yeah, there we go.
Now tech was on the channel but it was geared toward some other categories, and then we flipped over to crypto, some financial. We cover a lot of EV and kind of next generation innovation as well. Yeah,
and he is in my list of the top YouTubers I listen to all the time. It's not just because of, the crypto. It's good, which is great stuff. But like he talks about EV, electric vehicles. Yep. We're also looking at tech. And there was one that was really interesting about those 3D printed houses, delivery bots. I mean, it's like it takes care of the whole spectrum. Drones, yeah. Yep. Peter McCormick was on not too long ago.
Yeah, we had Peter Mac on yesterday.
Jeez, I bet he talked nonstop about Cardano and Ethereum. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, let's say probably not that case. Peter was a good interview though. He had a lot to say after Bukele's interview when he went down to El Salvador.
Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, he did. He went down there and met with the president. Was the president?
Yeah, with Bukele himself. Had a one-on-one interview. It was in his last. I think it was maybe 2 podcasts ago. So it was last week. And if you hadn't had a chance to listen to it, a lot of interesting things were discussed in that, especially on kind of the direction of where El Salvador is going. And if you think about all their different scenarios there, it's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, we can go all day about that one. But so just a quick catch up. We talked about, let me share my screen. The FUD, that's pretty prevalent. It's told people to remind themselves. Even when the car salesman tweets, it doesn't matter. It's all just a bunch of FUD out there. We covered a story, which I thought was pretty interesting, where we took a look at, let me pull this up, NYDIG. They had a nice little partnership with, where are we? NCR. Yeah. And they're going to offer up to
600 banks, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 billion open Bitcoin purchases. And this is just a start. So I just told people, just remember where you're at in history. And then on top of that, I mean, also take a look at the fact that, I mean, we're just at the very beginning. So, I mean, all I can say, let me try something real quick. Edit name, stop screen.
That's for sure. It is the beginning.
Yeah, and I think like this one kind of sums it up. Internet's just a passing fad. And I remember when the internet came about in the 90s, I think, Paul, you do too, and it's like, this is the same type of thing. It's the cryptos just can get passed over. It's no big deal. It's crashing. How many times has Bitcoin died? And now here we are.
Yeah, that's for sure. I worked for a company that thought the internet was a fad. A company called Microsoft.
And now here we are.
Yeah.
Hey, didn't Microsoft at one point take over and was accepting crypto? I can't remember.
Well, their problem is that we did not build the browser because Netscape was essentially beating us to the marketplace, and we had not created Internet Explorer yet at the time. We were still on Windows 2.0 in developing that, and Bill Gates, you know, he's on record to say basically he just didn't think the internet was going to be a thing. So listen, even the smartest minds, that's why I always say some of these really smart people who are looking at crypto and are saying, hey, it's never going to be a thing, they can be wrong. And it's been proven time in, time out.
Yeah. My favorite example is Warren Buffett going, I don't get Google. I don't know why we need it. There's no intrinsic value. We're going to pass.
Yep.
So that's it. And then also, I know we've had a pretty junky couple of months, everybody, but just remember the same thing happened in 2017, 26 and 2017. We had some major dips. I mean, I will say this. Remember back in March 2020, when we had that huge dip of like 46, 48%, the Black Swan event for COVID-19, and everything just dropped off. Equities. You know, the last one we had was like 50%, 49. So it was another big one. So it hasn't been as big as 2017, but it seems like sometimes the bigger the fall or the bigger the pullbacks, the bigger the upswing. So we'll see.
So much money was made in the stock market last year. Oof.
Who was the guy that did a bunch of shorts, made a ton of money, squeezed out everybody? I forgot his name. Well, doesn't matter. The last thing I'm going to say is this before we get into the all-important price predictions, which I've already shared with Paul, so he's raring to go to say that's impossible. Is this part right here? So on this channel, just so you know, I'm not a big person to do a bunch of trading or swap in and out and do things. I got other stuff to do and I can't time the market. I'm just not good at it. I don't know if you are. And I know there's a lot of other channels that are sensationalism and they like to talk about this one's going to explode in a couple of weeks. This one's going to, be monstrous in tomorrow. But you got to remember, it's really about to me, it's all about the long play. And that's why, I buy land, I buy properties. Paul's the same way. And we're just trying to kind of set ourselves up for the future. And this was something I shared a couple of days ago on Twitter. And it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, if you invested
37 million.
237 million in Bitcoin. Tesla still would have been a pretty good deal. 159,000.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Not Netflix, Facebook. And remember, I think Facebook, Google, Amazon, they're all $1 trillion companies now.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's still not too shabby. But remember, what we're into, there's a huge amount of volatility. However, there's a huge amount of upside, and that's the big thing. All right, Paul. So do you think we should, I don't know, maybe do some price predictions?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
A lot of things happening, that's for sure. That's definitely going to leverage this in, I think, over the next few months.
I think so too. Check this out. So these are my price predictions.
Oh boy.
We're gonna go over all the ones I made in January 7th and how they panned out, and also what's gonna happen, I think, towards the end of the year. Again, investment opinion, not investment advice. Here we are. So here we are. So here it is in all its beautiful glory. Crazy, right? So
1.7 end of year. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. As we take a look here on the left-hand side, I've got Bitcoin on January 7th. The price of Bitcoin was 38,000. Oh, those are glorious times, right? 38,000. The whole world was ahead of us. We had no problems. And we're like, man, this is awesome. So in that point, and all these different price predictions are based on a couple different models. I use a lot of fractals. If they were around back in, for as long, the longer they were around, the more I could overlay and extrapolate some percentages to see where they would actually go, especially with all the different growth that is happening. So I thought, well, Bitcoin, I mean, I looked all the way back to the very beginning, and I think there's still these things called 4-year cycles. Mm-hmm. I think it all goes through, a halving, then an all-time high, then a big reset, and then just a little flat. And then we just do it again and again and again. Now we're on our third 4-year cycle. And from what I can see, or what I can extrapolate with Bitcoin, I thought it was going to go to 150K. But with all the volatility and the things going on, I can still say, okay, maybe that 150K won't make it, and maybe I'll hit 130K. So today's price right now is 34,000, which is even below January 7th price. But that's where I see it. Paul, what do you think? Way off? Little up there? Or I could have gone higher.
I'm a little bit more conservative. My predictions have been kind of based on some models that we've been running here within our own group is hitting the 100K mark by end of year. But there are some factors. Again, as everybody knows, the volatility is based on, the rumor and then the news that hits. So if you've got, scenarios like Cathie Wood going up with an ETF and the number of ETFs that are filed right now, plus also the success we've seen in Canada, success we've seen over Switzerland with their ETFs, I think that's going to bring in a lot of not only institutional capital, but also just a lot of people that have not had a chance to really make it in as a retail investor, because it's hard. It's hard for the average person, at least in this day and age. It's still hard for the average person to actually go set up a Coinbase Pro account or get on Crack, anywhere of these exchanges and start trading. And I think that's going to be the big thing that really helps it move along. But if this ETF locks in, there's no telling where Bitcoin is going to kind of model. And of course, these little steps in the domino chain of China moving our mining scenario, which is kind of solved in a way, has kind of solved our problems, which I anticipated to be a bigger problem than it will be now. And then you look at where the banks are going, because the banks are eventually going to have to move into this. And then you have who was thinking El Salvador in January?
Nobody.
Yeah. So I don't know. I still am very strong on 6 figures.
I'll take it. You know what? I'll take 6 figures. I'll take 100,000. I have no problems with that. I have no problems with 100K. Now, this is what I like about Paul. Paul is, because when I did this last price prediction, man, I got tore up for 150K. Like, you're a moron. It's going to go to 300K. I saw 450K, and I'm like, maybe. I don't know. Again, investment opinion, not investment advice, and nobody really knows. Me and Paul don't have a crystal ball, and if we do have a crystal ball, it doesn't do anything, and sure as heck doesn't show us any kind of future plans. Let's see. So that's the first one. Ethereum on January 7th, it was 1,200. I thought it was going to 10K. I thought there were so many things with DeFi. I thought I didn't think that the avalanches and the Cardanos and the Tezos and all the different competitors were going to catch up. Yeah, I thought they would just crush it, but now we see a lot of different delays. We know that ETH 2.0 is going to be delayed. However, EIP 1559 looks pretty promising, and that happens in the middle of July, depending on the blocks that are produced. So I kind of punted on this one and said 8 to 10K. Paul, what do you got?
I'm actually feeling really good on this one, Rob. I think the ETH is one of those things that I have just a love affair for DeFi in general. Yeah, and just where those projects are going, and just we've had a chance to talk to a lot of these founders. We've been on with Algorand, we were on with John Wu, which was a fascinating discussion around Avalanche and kind of what their mission was. But And then, you know, the guy you turned us on to, World Mobile Token, that was a very interesting conversation. So you see a lot of these layer 2 projects that are really starting to move. And really, if you think about it, ETH being the granddaddy of them all. And the other issue is, remember, these ETFs in Europe, if you look at what, 21 is doing in Switzerland, ETH is one of their biggest ETFs, as is the Canadians, in terms of what their ETF successes have been. And I think if Kathy and others, whether it's Valkyrie or some of the other players that are really trying to, get this ETF launched, Ethereum is going to be a big part of it. And you know who else said something about Ethereum for the first time was Michael Saylor.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So for a maximalist to even mention that word is gives me a little bit more confidence in that particular project, and I think a lot of people. So I think you're in good space.
I think, yeah. So Amazing Sailor said it. You know what kind of puts me on the opposite end is Jim Cramer said it. Hey, I like Ethereum.
Right.
I'm like,
of course, sometimes with Cramer though, I feel like maybe we should go the opposite way, because we have I won't say his name, but we have an analyst that comes on our network a lot, and it's funny because our studio team and he's great. He's a good analyst, and he does a lot of great picks, but some of the picks that we've had with him, it's literally you could just go the other way and you would have won.
I like that guy. He should be on my channel.
Exactly.
And I could say, do the opposite of this guy.
And then just go that way. So I don't know. Cramer is, I still think Cramer and a lot of the mainstream media are a bit underinformed.
Yeah.
And because of that, I don't necessarily watch them as much. I'm always looking for these, listen, journalism is dead in mainstream media. So you don't have anybody really tracing down these projects and trying to understand them, and also looking into the credibility of the founders, looking at the project itself, and basically just getting your head around this. And I think none of what we're seeing in mainstream media is doing the work. So in that kind of scenario, I mean, he's probably just going with what the flavor of the week is right now.
Now, yeah, of course. But you know what? I mean, that's what moves markets, isn't it?
It is. I mean, Cramer's still an important character in markets, especially, again, don't want to beat the horse, but the ETF business will be on fire probably because of Mad Money, because he's going to get up and all over this, even though he and Kathy Wood have a little bit of a rub right now going on. So we'll see.
You know what? I mean, who watches Mad Money? Older generations, baby boomers. Where's all the money? Where's all the? Well, I mean, there's millennials who want to get stock picks, right?
No, I think the boomers are all on Mad Money. I think the millennials have moved on to crypto YouTube. Shows like yours and many others that are out there that are they're dropping some great content. If anything, they're getting people thinking in the right direction. So I think Ethereum is definitely a good call from 8 to 10. I feel very, very bullish on Ethereum.
Yeah, I like that. And then this is from L. He says, silo prediction. So this was my original predictions. At the very end, I'm going to show you all the other cryptos that I bought, which, if you know my story, I promised myself I wouldn't do it, but dang it, there was just so many deals to be had in these dips. So I've got, on this one, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have another 16 cryptos, and one of those is silo. And we're not going to get into it. I'm just going to show you what they are, but we'll do the price predictions later on that one. So, okay, Ethereum, and then Chainlink. Look, Chainlink blew me out of the water. It was $17 on January 7th. Yeah. I thought it was going to go at $35 at the end of the year. And and when I put right here these little in parentheses, 1 billion, Cardano 45 billion. These are the max supply that they have. So Chainlink at 1 billion, I thought that's a lot, but I mean, look. The all-time high was $52 in April. So I'm like, wow, thankfully, I really undersold this one. So right now it's $18. Okay, so that's down heavily than what it was before. So I said, okay, if it can do that, and it is one of those oracles that has to pull on the data, and of course we need these for like DeFi products actually pulling these prices. Charles Hoskinson talks about all the things. I mean, even like pulling in things for like weather and loans and things like that. So Cardano or Chainlink is still the granddaddy, and I think it's going to be used everywhere. So I said 75 to 100, and that's just me putting it out there because I was wrong about the first part. Paul, what do you got?
You know, Chainlink has been one of those that we've really got behind, and I just think they're in the first part of the year, first 6 months, I think it was a bit of a sleeper, and it's
Yeah.
really kind of started to kind of get some free open field, which is very interesting because they've got a great project, which I think in general is what's driving this. But the bigger thing is they have a lot of very similar scenarios to the XRP army. And
Mm.
what I mean by that is
Ah,
because we study, so the way our technical analysis goes is we look at, we use Trade the Chain for sentiment on Twitter. And then we use a tool that we've been building for about 8 years that helps us scan about where we're up to 10 different platforms right now where we're scanning basically much like speech IQ type stuff.
yeah.
So it's, if you look at that and you do crossover audience analysis, meaning who's buying Doge and who's buying Chainlink, or who's buying XRP, who's buying Chainlink, or who's talking about buying it. It should be the case.
Yeah.
And what you see is crossover with a few, what I think are a few very interesting coins and projects. One is XRP,
Yeah.
Chainlink, and vechain. All
Yeah.
have very similar makeups in terms of their investors, which are very rabid. So it doesn't surprise me that that project is doing so well.
Yeah, I remember when who was it? It was Zeus Capital or whoever it was that was trying to put all that FUD on Twitter,
Mhm.
and I don't see the ads anymore. But man, they really went hard on them, and it did the exact opposite. All the different people who were in the Chainlink, in the Link Marines, they said, "Oh yeah, you want to do this? That's fine. We'll just keep buying, and we'll short squeeze you out of here."
Yeah.
If that's what they actually did. So it was amazing, and we see this time and time again with these communities. Look at XRP, super
Yep.
strong.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it. All
I
right.
would say by far still the strongest community out there, XRP.
Oh, I mean, there's numerous channels that
It's
only
insane.
talk XRP, and that's it. So okay, so we got that. Let's take a look here. Whoops. Theta. So someone just said that T Fuel is going to go live for staking in a couple hours. I mean, look at T Fuel. That's one of my holds we're going to talk about
Yep.
next one later. But Theta, I mean, it was $2 on January 7th.
Yep.
I thought it was going to go to $10. And I was wrong because I was too conservative. But here's the thing about being conservative. I love about being conservative is this. People never get ticked off at me for being low, but they get ticked off when I don't hit those numbers. And we'll talk about Voyager in a bit. So, but Theta, I said, well, shoot. I mean, went to $14. It's $6.50 today. I can see it going to $30, especially with all the different partnerships that they have going on, the people behind it. And then there's one, I want to say CAA for the NFT market,
Yep.
because they have all the different Hollywood players in place. And all those people, they're going to go for the NFTs. And actually, I'm going to be part of that NFT market for Theta. It'll be rolling out, I want to say this week or next week. And people who pick up that NFT, first of all, when you purchase it, it'll be going 100% to charity. And second of all, you'll be getting either a couple different things, a one-on-one with me, where we do like a portfolio evaluation. Another one will be just a group of people getting together, like in a private Zoom meeting. So
That's cool.
Take a look at that for Theta when that comes out. I just wait for them to tell me what's going on. Okay,
No.
Paul, what do you think about this Theta?
So 50% down from its all-time high.
Yeah.
I'm a little weaker on this one, but it's for different reasons. And that is, so I travel in a group that we call the Diamond Circle, and we get a lot of insight on especially altcoins.
Yeah.
And people that are playing, and there's some big, I wouldn't call them whales, but there's some big money moving in. But what I like about it is, this is a group of about 50 people that have really good pulse actions. They're really watching the markets very closely. They have a lot in terms of connections within their own network. And Theta has been one that people have kind of stepped back from here recently over the past 30 days. So I think that in itself is probably going to contribute to a little bit slower upswing. I don't necessarily see that it might not get back to its all-time high, but even its all-time high would be great. Does it make it to 30? Again, I would go a little softer on that versus going up to 30 for Theta.
Okay. So we don't.
Now you get on T-Fuel, that fuel, and that's a different bird.
Yeah, sure. I think, and see that, you know, like, because there's a Theta mainnet launch of 3.0 coming on June today, right? Yeah, today. So I thought that T-Fuel would hit $1. It only hit, I mean, I think it's 47 cents, somewhere around there.
Slow down, yeah.
But it was at 65 at some point. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's got legs. Me and Paul don't agree, which is good.
That's okay.
So hopefully
one of us is going to be right. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah. Or you know what's funny? Neither will be right. Maybe it'll go to 0, or maybe it'll go to 1,000. Who knows? All right. So Celsius. I have my misgivings on Celsius, but again, very strong community. So it was $6 on January 7th. I thought it was going to go to 20. My probability was like, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. And then the all-time high went to 8. Or 792. So I was right. I mean, just for the half of the year. Now it's at 605 again. So what's interesting about this one, it's the same price almost from January 7th.
Right.
So I can't, there's too many things going on, and there's a couple of FUD stories going around. Yeah. Which James over at Invest Answers is going to have Alex Mashinsky on, and he's answered these on Yahoo Finance. I'm not going to get into him there because I've realized in my 72 years in this earth, or no, I'm just kidding. But I know that it's just not a good idea before we have all the facts in, to talk about it. And Mashinsky's already talked pretty solidly. So I'm going to say 20 to 30 and just go with that. I'm kind of punting on this one.
Yeah, I think with Celsius, I'm still looking at just the cross competitives, especially on these, these platform tokens like this. To me, there's just so much movement in the space. And I don't know. I think people are getting lured in different ways. Now, they could do some things to help stimulate that would help, especially toward the latter part of the year. But again, the way they peg that and the way they're utilizing their network to drive it, I'm actually very bearish on Celsius. So, and some of it is the FUD, but also I just look at, it's the competition. The competition is strong, and it's getting stronger in this space. And some people that I think who are not there right now, but will be there in 6 months to a year, they're going to cause some disruption in Celsius business model. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And I forgot about that competition, because I mean, Celsius it's great for getting that yield. You know, Alex is always talking about unbanking yourself, but there's new players coming in. Can they keep that edge? Only time will tell. But man, it's like Peter Thiel says, I don't want to have a bunch of competition. I want to go in a place where there's not much at all or none and just dominate. And I can totally appreciate that. All right. So we got that there. Let's go back to Stellar. I'm going to kind of glance over this one. It was at 33 cents. I thought it was only $2. I didn't have much faith in it, but it did hit 77 cents for an all-time high. Now it's back down to 26 cents. So again, $2. And one of the things I like about Stellar is that, like, you have USDC that is on it, that is on the actual Stellar's blockchain. They are working with IBM still, so they got a lot of different, I think, not competitive advantages, but advantages just in that space. So who knows? Paul, what do you got? This is an interesting one to me because I get a lot of back channel on this one. Just within the community, people, especially on Twitter, the DMs that I get on different projects. And we got turned on to the XRP team from just some of the videos that we were doing. Same thing is happening with Stellar. I'm getting a lot of people who are involved in the project that are back channeling to us. So it's kind of like those inside sources that kind of say, now, can you trust them? Okay. I mean, their creds are real. They're the real people that are doing the projects. So they have some things in the works right now that could be interesting if this becomes reality. And, just again, back from the sources that we're getting. And there's a few projects that are like this, where you get these back channel scenarios where people are, a lot more loose lips, I should say. And Stellar is one of them. So I feel like it's a little stronger than where you have it. But isn't this always the way, Paul? The things that happen behind the scenes is what moves everything. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. What's happening right now at Cardano, don't get me going on that one. then you've got Polygon, the projects that are happening there. Solana, oh, jeez, the stuff that is moving in some of these projects is phenomenal. Here's the thing, man. There's so much great stuff happening. I just wonder. Sometimes I feel like just the vacuum gets sucked out of the room because there's just so much action in the market. It reminds me of the .bomb era when in Silicon Valley, which I was there at that time, and we were, oh my gosh, I mean, the number of startups. You think startups have been going crazy in Silicon Valley over the last 5 years? That was nothing. That was a Walmart fire compared to what we saw in the .bomb era. It was insane. Reminds me a lot about that. You got to watch out for the scams, though. That's the big one,
because they're everywhere. And not only that, there's just a ton of different, like even on a video that I'll watch of yours before, it'll say like, are you interested in cryptocurrency? Well, come on down and let me show you the way. Like, oh, whatever. And then Stephen Campbell, I need to answer this. It's not pre-recorded. This one's not pre-recorded right now. But of course, when people are watching this later, it's pre-recorded. So, but right now we are live, just doing this with my friend Paul Barron from the Paul Barron Network. Go ahead and check
you're
out
the
his
only
channel.
person that actually says my name correctly. I mean, Barron is the way I pronounce the English pronunciation, but like Barron's Magazine and the newspaper and the Financial Times, but Barron is the way to say it.
Yeah,
but you live in El Paso, so you're down there.
Yes, exactly. That's the big reason. And then Omar de Lopez said it correctly. Hey, guys, you skipped Cardano. And I did. I'm sorry about that. I was just going too fast. So Cardano, this is a good one. Thank you, Omar. Cardano. Yeah. I've got it at it was 32 cents on January 7th. Remember those days? Those were sweet days. Those were good days, man. Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, $3 by end of year. And my probability was about 8 because I knew there's a lot of things going on in the pipe. I had heard rumblings of these smart contracts coming into play. We didn't really know when. Now we know it's August. And, we went up to an all-time high of, what do we have? $2.52. So almost hit my goals. Now we're down to $1.30. And I'm big on Ethereum and I'm big on Cardano. I don't care which one. I don't think anyone can win because there's so much piece of the pie out there. I think they're all going to have their little pieces of what they actually do. Some will be bigger slices, some will be smaller. Mm-hmm. So with Cardano, I think conservatively 5. If I want to push it, 7. And that's what we got. Paul, what do you think?
Our amplification numbers on Cardano are, I would say, in our top 5 in terms of how projects are performing. And the way that we look at amplifications, no pun or versus amp the project, but amplification, we use an algorithm that looks at trying to predetermine how traction starts on social. So when people are talking about something, you get a certain level of scores, kind of like what Trade the Chain does on sentiment analysis. We do this on a thing called amplification, and it looks at basically it projects a cone for either you're going to see a lot of action or at least a lot of people moving in that direction. And Cardano has a lot of amplification right now. So I don't know if this is something just in kind of this pent up expectation of the projects coming, like Alonso and some of those projects coming to fruit, but and it's close. I mean, Charles is kind of moving the goalpost a little bit, but I think with what the community is expecting, this could actually take off, especially around Q3. That's the one that I'm really interested in watching. This is one that I think has a real potential to fly.
Yeah, I agree. And just so everybody knows, if you're looking to stake your Cardano, just go to danteachescrypto.com. In the very upper right-hand corner, it says ADA staking. And there's a video that explains the risks, how it works, how we do it, and how we compare against other stake pools. So go ahead and check that out.
What do you think about staking overall when you're teaching your course? Do you find a lot of people that are trying to get more information on how that's working, or are people kind of backing off from it and looking at just pure play?
So I think in the beginning, people were scared about staking, and I was too, especially when ETH 2.0 rolled around. And I'm like, so let me get this straight. So I got to lock this up for we don't know how long. and we don't really know the rewards, even though it's probably going to be pretty good, but we're not for sure. And there's this thing called slashing. I'm like, I'm going to piece out of this one. I'm not going to do this. Yeah. And I just didn't want to do it. And then I was like, well, what about with Polkadot? Well, if you want to do it on your own, there's that. But there's also, I'm like, well, I can kind of stake it over there on Kraken. Okay. And then from when people would ask me about it, they're like, well, how does this all work? And I, give them a basic. I even did a couple of videos over there on Theta, how to stake Theta, pretty easy. But even when I stake Theta, and there was problems with the different interface, and it just sometimes wouldn't work. So I was kind of giving up on things until Cardano came around, and it was just so simple. And that's the big thing about it. And then the other big thing is that there's no slashing penalties. And on top of that, it never leaves your wallet. So it's like right there. So it's a big deal. Yeah, if people don't like D news, like, Rob, you suck. I'm out of here. That's fine. And then they move it over to Hashoshi's stake pool, and it's much better. Or they move wherever they want to, and that's exactly how it should work. It's a click of a button that you can use 3 types: Daedalus, Yoroi, or Ada Light. It makes a lot of sense. I think when I look at my data for my website, that is like the 3rd most popular page on top of the basics and then investing module in the members area.
That's going to pull. Well, there you go. Then people are really intrigued and interested in that. So that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. And then like, if you think about it, like talking about cashing out, because that's what everybody wants to do, want to cash out at some point. If you cash out, those are unfortunately a tax event and capital gains and all that stuff. So, if you can do a little of this and then maybe do some loans on Meld, why not? I'm wrapping in too many things, Paul. Wrapping in too many things. Okay. So let's see here. Where are we? Polkadot. So Polkadot, $10 on January 7th. I thought it was going to 50. It went to almost 50, 47, I think in April or May. Now it's down to $15. I think Polkadot's going to be huge. There's so many things going on with it. There's so many people, so many projects building on Polkadot. And again, it's Dr. Gavin Wood, who came from Ethereum Mafia. He's just one of those 8, 9, 10 people that came out. So I upped my ante and said 75 to 100.
Okay, well, you definitely go. Okay, so I'm softer on it. But I like the team at Polkadot. Definitely, I would say this is a top 5 project team in all of crypto.
Yeah.
So just that in itself makes that a great value, just because of the innovation. I think that they're gonna, and the other thing with Polkadot is the partnerships and the deals they're putting together are getting very intriguing, and the potential for them to kind of move into the next layer of what their strategy is. If you look at their white paper and kind of what they're trying to do on a long-term play, definitely a strong one. I'd probably be on the lower end of that at 75.
Yeah.
For, because I'm feeling, and I own most of these coins. I mean, Polkadot is one of my bigger investments right now.
Yeah. I thought like for this one, I'm like, if it just does what it's supposed to do and gets those different products to build and gain momentum, it can do this. Yeah. But it's all a big thing of like, can they actually execute? Yeah. And that's what all businesses come down to. Can you do it? So we'll see.
Polkadot's big challenge is going to be Solana.
Yes. And that's on the next one, which we'll do in another video, that's one of the ones I picked up because you can't ignore Solana. Okay. No. Scooter says, I think a lot of us need this video. I think so too, because we've gotten kicked in the teeth way too long and it hurts. So let's dare to dream, right?
We're coming out of this, man. We're coming out.
That's right. So then Tezos is one of the ones where, again, smart contract platform. I don't know if it's going to win. I said 265 on January 7th. I thought it was going to go 20. It went to 758, which wasn't too bad. Yeah. Now it's back down to 277, roughly the same thing. I don't see a lot of action. And I thought $20 at the end of the year. Now I'm saying 10. I have very little faith in Tezos. I'm sorry. I don't really get many articles about what's going on, how the foundation is doing. Maybe some people will, of course, in the comment section, tell me how wrong I am, but I'm going to downgrade them to 10.
Yeah, I would agree on that one. I look at this as a project that's a coattail project, meaning it rides along with and pegs against other projects. If other projects do well, it may get a little bit of a coattail ride to $10, but I would be very soft on this one right now.
Yeah. And vechain is one I'm kind of softish on too. It was at 3 cents. I was going to go to quarter.
This has so much potential.
So much potential. I mean, look, if we're talking about tracking things, like when I was in the medical industry, it would sure have been great if we could have tracked a lot of these different medications that came through all these different manufacturers.
Yep.
And then we could have recalled them quicker instead of having patients die. So just on that part, and then other people will talk about, well, about counterfeits and things like that. Sure. Whatever.
Right.
So I thought I was going to do a quarter. It went to a quarter in the middle. Now it's at 8 cents. I'm just going to punt and go 40 cents because they're doing a lot of things with the Chinese government, as I understand it. Mm-hmm. And I just want to step away from that.
Do you know, Rob, because they haven't revealed this, there's a company that is in China. They've approached us on talking more about what they're doing, which essentially is, and we've kind of been back and forth with them about this, but the point is they have 24 projects that they're going to approve. And some of these projects, they're actually white labeling, meaning they don't want the Chinese people to know which project it is.
Because they would invest into it, or what?
Well, I think it's either one that they don't want the rest of the world knowing they're utilizing that blockchain tech or that particular project for something, whether it's logistics, medical, you name it, shipping, transportation. But they've approved or are approving 24 projects that will implement into China. And that's the interesting thing. When you look at what China is doing, and I have an inkling that this project may be one of them. And there's some reasons there. Just if you look at their ties to China and kind of look at their developer team and just some of the people within the organization.
They're sharp.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And if that is the case, then I don't know that it will ever come out. And because the Chinese, the PRC is going to be, they're going to be tight-lipped on what projects are going to be revealed as to what they're doing. Mainly for them, they don't want the spies, to try to come in and circumvent their programs.
Well, that's what they do here. So what are you going to do? You didn't hear that. You didn't hear this. You didn't hear that on this channel. Don't ban me. All right. So here we are. I got to agree. So man, if I'm low on this, that's great. Cause I've held VeChain forever.
Yeah.
So if this goes up, great. I'll be glad to be wrong. Glad. Next one, EOS. I said it was at $3.40. I thought it was going to 30. I didn't have much faith in that. It did go to 13.28, and I downgraded this one as well to only 15. I don't see it really doing much. A lot of people will say how wrong I am, and I could be, but I don't really have much faith.
Yeah, I'm downgraded on EOS as well. Have never owned the project, so it's one of those I keep trying. I always go back to it. I mean, it's always on the list for just let's go check it out, see what's happening, anything recent. Has there been any major changes on it? And that's the thing. Some of these projects get a little stale. And once you get that, then nobody's trying to partner up. And those partner programs are what expands these projects. And these projects need those things. They're basically the lifeblood of how they're going to move next. If you can imagine, whoever is going to win the key elements in Africa, the countries of Africa are going to be huge. That in itself, Cardano's got the, they're kind of in the pole position right now to do some things over there. So, but yeah, this one, EOS is just not enough action. Yeah, not enough action.
And maybe we're wrong, but I don't see it. Okay, so let's see what else we got. VeChain EOS, Uniswap. This is the one I thought it was going to go to $20. It was $6. And I thought on January 7th, it'll go to $20 at the end of the year. And what did it do? $44.
Yeah.
$44. So how wrong? I was so wrong. Now it's $17.31. So again, I gotta upgrade it to 60. And one of the reasons why, because I was like, well, there's so much competition with DEXs. There's so many things coming out. However, everybody seems to go to Uniswap. I mean, even like ones that have come out, like Zero Exchange. Zero Exchange is pretty good. You can use a lot of different. You can use Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, some other different ones.
Right.
It's cheap, but people still use Uniswap, and I think it's just what you get comfortable with because it's easy.
Very cool. Here will be the difference with Uniswap. If we see there's two things that could happen here. One is structure capital starts moving in, which is going to give us more retail investors and more traders.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to need more traffic on platforms like Uni. So it can go one of two ways. You could end up with these new people, the noobs, coming on and going with some of the new projects that are doing essentially the same thing, or they jump into Uniswap, and that in itself will start to move the needle in terms of just volume. So that's kind of the way I look at it right now. Is we're getting ready to see a new harvest of retail investors once these ETFs go in play. And also, I think next year, 22 is going to be a big year for, mainstream adoption. And with that happening, then they could be in the right place at the right time. It's kind of like the Amex, of the credit card industry.
And then, so everybody think of it this way. Like if you're in America, like me and Paul, some other different countries, you can't get a lot of tokens. And your only option is Uniswap. Now, if EIP 1559 comes in and does what it's supposed to do, and those fees go down to, let's say it goes from $10 to 20 cents. Would you be more inclined to use Uniswap?
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I think Uniswap wins out. And it's all based on that. And even if not, I mean, people are still using it. So what do you know?
Right.
Let's go to everybody's favorite, where they like to beat me over the head, which I don't blame. Voyager, 29 cents. And I had made a prediction it's going to $30. And people thought I was crazy. And I am a little crazy. And I thought it's going to go this. It's for probability of 9. Well, it went up to $7, which is pretty good. 20 cents to 7. But then it tumbled vastly. And there was a lot of different reasons. One, they didn't have the infrastructure in place. They didn't have the customer support in place. Their loyalty program got pushed back, and just a lot of delays, just like business happens. And I stopped promoting Voyager or even talking about them. Even my exchange and wallet fees, which I showed in the beginning, right, I took them off as far as recommended, because I told Steve, the CEO, I go, man, you guys aren't ready. And that was it. He goes, give me 90 days. And he did it. And they went from 70,000 people to 1.6 million. The earnings report said how much they have. Yep. They're on track for 2 million. The token swap is supposed to happen today, as everybody remembers, which means you get 30 days until the loyalty program goes into effect. Then on top of that, hopefully Canada comes in, and hopefully the EU comes in, because they bought the, LGO exchange over there in France. So I still have hope that it's going to do well, but it's all hinges on a couple of things like we just talked about. Yep. That token swap's got to happen. 30 days, the loyalty program's got to go into effect. That's real world utility. Debit card has to come out. Fees have to go down because of the loyalty program. They have to move into Europe. And if they do all those things, $30 is low. Paul, what do you got?
I'm kind of with you on this one. I'm curious, though, has Steve mentioned to you any indication of a desktop app?
Yes, I've seen it.
Desktop version, I should say,
And it's smooth. It's real smooth. So when is that coming out? I don't know, but I know if they've got it, it's in beta. And from what he says, he goes, we want to release it as soon as possible. We got to do our checks and balances.
Yeah, because you get a lot of people who, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that still like to trade on mobile. And it's, if you get the Robinhood crew, that's, it's the only way they roll. So that I understand. True. But you get a lot of these older millennials to Gen X, which is a big population. Not only that, they have a lot of cash to invest. They love this web side of things. They're not as keen on these app products that versus the millennials, and obviously eventually will be Gen Z. So I think if they can get that out, because Coinbase, if you think about just Coinbase by itself, that is a seamless, though it's expensive as heck, and that's where Voyager wins. They're going to win huge in going head to head on just the regular Coinbase, website approach.
It's a good point. Ease of use wins out over everything. Yep. Because I mean, look, everybody who's watching this video, you're early. You can go to the Uniswaps, you can use the ledgers, you can even do yield farming, not a big deal. But for like my brother, he's a moron and he can't get it. my sweet mom just can't understand. And like some people I've talked to, they're just like, well, that's tough. They need something simple.
Super simple.
And that's when we win. So that's I agree with Paul on this one. Yeah. All right. So lastly, let's talk about Aave, Bitcoin Cash, and XRP. So Aave's, DeFi, Yanni and his crew looked like it was going to do pretty well.
Yeah.
It was at 122. I thought it was going to 2,000 because first of all, the max supply is only 16 million. So I thought just there's going to make it do pretty well. It went to 652, which is a nice return. Now then it went back to 221. So it's above the January 7th. It's about a third of what it used to be. So I'm going to downgrade them and go to 1,500 because there's so much competition out there. I don't know if they can make it, if they can keep going. But I mean, Yanni himself is pretty good. He's got a great crew. But Paul, what do you got with this one? Anything?
I'm feeling pretty good about Aave. It's one of those projects that I do think has a lot of upside to it. I'm a little softer on if I were going this direction for end of year, I'm more in the range of 1,000. So not as much of a growth. And I know a lot of people are probably going to hate me on that one, but it's one of those projects that is just, I have to get really invested in these. And when I go in and do deep dives on these projects, which is like my pastime, right now on these, and then run them by a group of people that I find, one, developers, and then also other investors that are doing some big moves, and they look at it if they've never been in it, and they look at it and say, they kind of shake their head, or maybe they give you a couple of pushbacks on it, and here's why, kind of thing. I get that a little bit more with projects like Aave. So yeah, I
can see it. And then there's only so much. I mean, there's a lot of room, but there's only so much room. So
exactly. Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I hope I'm wrong. All right. And then to finish up this little fiasco, Bitcoin Cash. I got into Bitcoin Cash because of one person, actually two, my friend George, and mostly Digital Dave over at Crazy for Cryptos. And I could see why, because he talks to, and even like Kim.com talks about this. He's like, look, everybody wants low fees. They want it super fast. They want it simple, just like we talked about. So Bitcoin Cash could win over that. However, we just saw with El Salvador. I mean, there was a nice little piece on Vice where they go to El Salvador, they go to Bitcoin Beach, they buy some things, and it's super fast and super cheap because of Strike, Jack Mallow's company. Mm-hmm. So with this one, I thought, okay, 481, I thought it was going to go to 8,000. Didn't even hit close to that. It was 1,500. On this one today, it's $500. I'm going to say it might be a little 10x to a 5K, but that's really pushing it. Paul, what do you got?
I'm in the same position right there. I'm kind of right on your number at 5K. I think this is one of those that just has the potential. We'll see. I don't own any, but I have so many of at least both friends and also people that I know that are in this. And sometimes I get a little FOMO on this one, for not going in on this one as much as I should be.
Well, I mean, I've got a little bit, but I don't have a lot, so we'll see how it goes. And then BC in the Matrix says you're better off with Litecoin. And then a couple people, why no Litecoin? I don't get Litecoin. Now, Landon Castle, who is the driver for Voyager NASCAR, he is big. I was on the show with Alex, and he's big on Litecoin. And I'm going to have him on the show so he can explain it to me because I don't get it. I'm not that smart. I'm going to have him sit down and tell me why Litecoin is so awesome. And then we'll go from there. So when I get it landed on, I'll let you guys know. Lastly, and we'll wrap this up, Paul, thanks so much for sticking with me. XRP.
Bet, man.
XRP, I didn't even give a price because I had no idea because the SEC lawsuit. Yeah. It did, even with the lawsuit, Paul, it went to $1.77.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That should tell you something right there. I mean, this army is real with XRP. If this thing gets even a draw or gets loose from this SEC situation, Ripple is going to it's going to unhook, and only because of the army. I think that's the thing holding this back is just the uncertainty, with what the SEC is going in. But I think this is one of those things, and a lot of people still think, that this is one of those cases that the SEC is stringing out because they don't have a good position to really slam dunk this. Which, if you look at the SEC wins over the past decade, don't just assume these are slam dunks. They have lost many projects and cases like this, so it's not something that is, hey, this is just going to go away. So I don't know. I feel very optimistic. As McCormick told me, what was it? skeptically optimistic, or no, something like that.
Hopefully, I am
Optimistic.
pessimistically optimistic, if you want to go down that route.
Right.
So sure.
Yeah.
So like, I think, I mean, XRP could go anywhere. What happens in like a month? Ripple comes on and says, we settled, we're going to pay an undisclosed amount, and we're going to move on. And it's going to be labeled as a, not a security, as a utility token.
Yeah, then they're going to move. They're going to move right over to the next layer of SEC, and that is, we're getting ready to file for IPO.
Damn right, that's exactly what's going to happen. So that's what we got.
Off they go.
Off we go. So just to finish up, we're going to do this later. I'll probably do this with Alex. We're gonna. What's going to happen is I'm going to have. We've got some other people coming into the fray, as far as to go over these price predictions. Hashoshi being one of them. We've got guys going to do a little something from Coin Bureau. We've got Alex and some other, and Mike the Investor's coming on. But I'll go over this later, but these are the other ones that I own. And I already showed this to Paul, and he's like, what?
Good list. Good list.
You own all this stuff? I'm like, yeah, I own all this stuff. I own Basic Attention Token, StormX, T-Fuel, Avalanche, Silo, Cent Token. That's a big one. Yeah. Solana, huge. Polygon, Swissborg, IOTA, BTT, and that's only because I'm Mike the Investor. Filecoin, Mana, Digibyte, Meld, and WMT. I don't have these yet, but I want to talk about them and how big they can be.
Yeah. Is that the proposed period in which they're going to go up?
TGE, the token generation event's going to happen at that point. So Paul, real quick, and I'm going to pull up your YouTube site again. Which ones of these you think could be the biggest winners?
Ooh, well,
that's a tough one.
Solana is a big one. I'm still big into believing what Avalanche is doing. I like Silo. Silo is very intriguing to me. Obviously Polygon, that's a slam dunk to me. I hold that one. I like this whole concept. When we had the people on from World Mobile Token, man, the project is very interesting to me. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch when it comes real.
Can you imagine if that happens?
Well, I told him when we interviewed him, I said, listen, you probably need to stay away from small planes and hot tubs.
Yeah, because they're going to kill you. Yeah, that's what it comes down.
You're doing something that just is not making a lot of people happy.
That's it. So Paul, I want to say thanks for sticking with us for the full hour. That's a long thing, but I thought it was just like some people said, I think it was pretty much needed. And just so you guys, hopefully you can take a look at Paul Barron's YouTube channel. I have the link in the description.
Paul Barron Network.
Yeah, Paul Barron Network. And you've got 55,000 subscribers, and you guys have jumped up massively, but you guys crank out really good stuff, and really you're not going to get a bunch of Moon Boy stuff here, just so everybody knows. It's real deep dives, technicals, and then of course I have a theory, Paul.
What's that?
My theory is this. I think you've got a lot of insider information.
Oh, is that where you're going with this?
That's what I think it is. And I already talked to Alex. I'm like, me, you, and Paul got to sit down and tell all the stories because you've got some connections. That's what
we would have to. We would have to do that in a sealed room in an undisclosed location.
Exactly.
It would be fun. That's for sure.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for stopping by. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe. Also, check out Paul's channel. You can just search Paul Barron Network. I think I have it in the description. This was a new program I used, so I don't know if the data carried over, but that's it. Paul, any last words of wisdom for these guys?
No. I think we are in for the rest of the bull market. It's approaching soon. I feel it. The ground is rumbling. The ground is rumbling.
Awesome. All right, everybody. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next one.
Take care.